What's up, y'all? Today's episode is all about chill vibes. Oh, wait. Freedom of speech. You know what? I'm going to keep the vibes going because we definitely need it right now. So, freedom of speech. What is it? Who has a right to it? Does every American have equitable access to it? Or are there social, economic, and systemic barriers that limit who can speak freely? And what does this mean for artists? The First Amendment states, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people to peaceably assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Strange Fruit, Mississippi Goddamn, The Pill, Cop Killer, Piss Christ, Michelangelo's David, all of these songs or visual works of art were at one time banned in parts of the United States. And it reminds me of a quote by Henry Louis Gates. Censorship to art is as lynching is to justice. Welcome to Artillery, y'all. I think we've all heard by now about the brief cancellation of Jimmy Kimmel, whose freedom of speech was challenged when Kimmel said that MAGA was trying to, quote, characterize this kid who killed Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them, and doing everything they can to score political points from it, end quote. Brendan Carr, chairman of the Federal Communications Commission and one of the authors of Project 2025, mind you, remarked that Kimmel's banter was, quote, part of a concerted effort to lie to the American people, end quote. And because of that, the FCC would take action against ABC, the station that broadcasts Jimmy Kimmel Live. Furthermore, he even encouraged local stations to push back and preempt any shows that do not, quote, serve their local communities. But mounting pressures from a variety of sources, including advertisers, employees who were being threatened, political ploys, and potential financial burdens, forced the decision by Disney execs Robert Iger and Dana Walden to temporarily cancel the show at the last minute, just before the audience arrived. And with that came a litany of backlash from Disney employees, Hollywood unions, and the people who consumed their content, namely us. The power of the dollar is mighty, and I can't help but wonder if Disney, who saw a small dip in its stock, was avoiding a bigger fall as folks were beginning to cancel their subscriptions. We see what you've done to Target. So this takes me back to my opening question. Who actually has access to freedom of speech? In this case, today, it feels like only the folks who align with this president and his administration. Senator Chuck Schumer said that this cancellation is, quote, against democratic values, and it doesn't matter if you agree with Kimmel or not. He has a right to free speech. But Kimmel is back. And with triple the size of the audience he had before. On his Welcome Back show, he clarified his remarks. Now, if you've tuned into episode 5 of Artillery, you know that censorship of artists is becoming a benchmark of this administration, and journalists are being targeted as well. The Pentagon is requiring reporters to sign a pledge that they will not disseminate any information that hasn't been officially authorized for release. This is a developing story, and I need to dig a little deeper to find out more, and in that vein, in November, I'm going to talk to a lawyer about free speech. So we're not done here quite yet. But let's get to the art. My next guest on Artillery is Aminata Say. Mimi is a poet and writer. She graduated from the Anderson Schools of Management at the University of New Mexico and is currently reading for a Master's of Liberal Arts degree concentrating on creative writing and literature at Harvard University. She's currently working on an autobiography called The Universe Calls Me Daughter that will chronicle her lived experiences in Africa, the United States, and Asia. She is a 2017 inaugural writer for the Stanford University Alumni Writers Critique Group, Oregon chapter. Her work has been commissioned by the University of Michigan, the Washington Chorus, and world-class jazz pianist Daryl Grant, who was a guest on the show. Her commissioned work with Vanguard Chicago opera composer Matthew Rescio is highly anticipated in the spring of 2026. Mimi continues to write and showcase her work with composers and orchestras across the country. She is an often commissioned poet for Resonance Ensemble. She's published by Huffington Post. And in October 2018, she showcased 2 essays and was a featured speaker at Writing as Resistance, a forum discussion on the purposeful and effective use of writing for activism. Her poem, As It Were, was the culminating feature in the fall 2024 issue of Studio magazine for the Studio Museum in Harlem. She continually shares her musings on Medium, so look her up on that platform as well. Mimi currently serves on the board of the Laura Fund, a foundation committed to research and finding a cure for multiple sclerosis. She's an avid reader and a lover of music and all things African. I forgot to mention, Mimi is from the beautiful country of Sierra Leone. Mimi navigates life and her MS while living in Portland, Oregon. Mimi, it's so nice to have you on the show.
It is lovely to be here. Thank you for asking me on.
Absolutely. Thank you for being on Artillery. Anyway, Mimi, tell us about yourself.
Wow.
Tell us about your journey as a writer, all the things.
Journey as a writer, all the things. Damien, I am just a simple girl that was born in Sierra Leone some years ago, who came to the U.S. as a teenager with a dream and love for the English language. It's all I've loved for so many years. But of course, when you come out, you have to do other things to survive, and so I didn't pursue anything in the field of English or literature or any type of study like that. I actually did business, right?
Okay.
And at some point, life offered things that made it possible for me to pursue something in English, So after the mothering years and the caring years and all of that and the nurturing years, in 2022, I got into finally an English program that I had dreamed about for 20 years, So I
Also
with my
mention where the program is.
the
Let's do a little
program
name dropping.
is at name dropping. The program is at Harvard.
Yes.
So I am at Harvard, got in 22, and I'm reading for a master's in liberal arts. And the concentration is literature and creative writing. It's been fun. I've got to meet people from all over the world, great professors that have helped me enhance just what I already had, the material I already, because I've always written, I've always journaled, I've always had material. I've jotted things down, anywhere from jotting things down to like actually having documents of my writing. And so it was easy to go back to those places. I was already in the habit of doing long form prose writing.
Mm-hmm.
So that was easy for me. That comes to me naturally. I don't do well with creating fictional situations. I write better with things I've heard, lived, or experienced. And so memoir is my jam. That's
Okay.
where I think I do the best. I write best in first person voice. I think I've dabbled because of the training for the craft, and especially at Harvard, I've had to write, fictional
Right.
writing, which is nice. It's good, but I think I feel most comfortable writing in the first person voice. So that's been the journey in terms of the discipline.
So wait, hold on. Let's go back though for a second though. So when you were a child in Sierra Leone, you developed this passion for writing, for reading. Like, where did this come from?
My mother and father. My mother, I would say especially my mother, because she read to me a lot. She read to me a lot. I remember when I was 10 years old going into secondary school, which we would hear what would be the equivalent is middle school, whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
10 years old, she sat me down and she read cover to cover. It was the summer before school started, and you know how they'll send you a book list for
Yeah.
the summer for the next semester for the start. So on my book list was Jane Eyre.
Okay.
She had read Jane Eyre in school and she was so excited about it. And I remember like in the evenings, the summer before I was to start at secondary school, she read to me cover to cover Jane Eyre.
Mm.
So if I were to go back to the first memory, aside from, my parents reading, I was an only child for many years. And so aside from my parents reading like, comic, whatever, the baby books when I was little, before I went to bed, the first significant thing that I have of a memory of something I loved to hear, because when they read to me, before bed, that was kind of like mechanical. It's just like, it's the thing we do before,
Uh-huh.
you go to sleep, right? It is what
Right.
it is. But when I heard her voice, sit down, every time I reference, I go back to that, like to sit down and those moments. It was two things: when moments when she braided my hair and moments when she read to me. That's
Mm.
what comes. And so those are the first significant memories that I have of something that ignited a passion for hearing someone speak or putting any type of value into a literary work. So it was Jane Eyre.
So your mother clearly had this love of reading as
Love.
well, and you
Yep.
just sort of got it from her. Interesting, Jane Eyre. Why do you know why Jane Eyre in particular?
Jane Eyre, because you know what? Colonization. Don't get me started.
I wasn't gonna go there, but
Colonization. Don't get me started, Damien. So she read Jane Eyre at school, and back in the day, it was Shakespeare, Bronte, Tennyson,
hmm.
Yates. This is how literature happened, even back in Sierra Leone. I don't know that the generation even before me, which would have been the generation to appreciate the likes of Wole Soyinka or Achebe or Mariam Abba.
Hmm.
I don't know that Africans appreciated African writing. I don't know. They could have,
Okay.
but that's this. There was an era. The generation before me is when those people were starting out in London, and being given the platform to publish.
Hmm.
And so I don't think they were big enough or appreciated enough on the African continent. I
Okay.
could be wrong, but I know for sure that because the generation before me was very, very close to British colonization and rule, that's what trickled down. Shakespeare was important.
Okay.
Those types of writers were, and as I move today, in terms of learning the discipline, I also question, like even in my with my classes at Harvard, I'm like, why are we still reading this stuff? Like, it's not that we shouldn't read it, but why don't we have more of an injection of Black writing?
Yeah, it's a good
And
question.
when we do, it's limited to maybe just the people that we know. It's limit, maybe just the greats, right?
Right.
It's not and the non-controversial. It's always the stuff that's palatable
Uh huh.
that comes up.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
particularly now, people are kind of scared to do that because they might lose money or get their program shut down or whatever reason. But,
Yep.
before all of that happened, I could only think that, it takes work to learn about who's out there now and who are the next
Absolutely.
Jane Austens and folks like this, right?
Absolutely.
And a lot of these, no shade to professors at all or English teachers or
Right.
anything like that, but a lot
Oh
of
yeah,
these folks
design.
have been teaching the same books for years and years, and it requires more work to
Hmm.
go out and do some research. And
Yep.
so that could be part of the answer. If there's an
Mhm.
English professor listening to this who wants to chime in, please do and correct me if I'm
Right.
wrong. But
Right. Yeah. And
that has been my
no shade.
experience, I will say. Would you say?
Absolutely. No shade to the professors.
No.
I've met some great professors, and I've learned some great material and things that I did not even know, even coming from that background. But in terms of what was valuable to my mother at the time, that's, she just a great respect for Charlotte and Emily Bronte. So
So why creative writing? Memoirs are your jam, you say.
uh-huh.
Uh, Fiction you aren't as comfortable in necessarily. So why creative writing?
Because I think creative writing informs and enhances memoirs can be boring. They can be boring. Like, so let me give you an example. I'm working on a book called The Universe Calls Me Daughter.
Yes, I want to
I
talk
could
about that
write
too.
that. Yes, I could write that and just give you what my life has been. But maybe if I write that in the form of the character's name is Ray, and it's a spin from my middle name, which is Radia. So Ray is her name, and this is Ray's experience because for me, I think where creative writing helps is it helps me remove myself a little bit from the experience because
Okay.
I'm getting into things that are some of the things I wasn't comfortable talking about
Mm-hmm.
when especially like when my mother was alive.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the things I wasn't I'm not comfortable talking about because they have to do with adults in my family who cross lines they shouldn't have
Yeah.
crossed.
So there's like
I'm
a
still
little layer
living.
of
I'm
protection
sorry.
there. There's a little layer of protection there, you would say. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I get that.
Yeah.
So you create the characters,
Yes.
even though they're based on real people.
Even though they're based on real people.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit.
But as I do that though, I'm not able to create ones like Harry Potter that I know nothing about.
Right. I
Do you
bet
see
you
what I'm
could.
saying?
I bet you could.
If I do try, yeah, if I do try,
Yeah.
I think I've turned in some good work at Harvard.
Yeah. I
That
was gonna say I'm sure you've had to in your program, right?
oh, absolutely, absolutely, yeah.
I'm trying to get you in the opera world.
You know, the opera world has been the classical music world
Hmm.
has been amazing.
Let's table this. I'm gonna come back to it.
Yes, we'll table. Yes,
All right. Tell me about your memoir, which you've already mentioned. The universe calls me daughter.
yes, yes, yes. So the memoir just chronicles all of my lived experiences here in Africa, in Sierra Leone, where I was born, in America, and I lived in Asia for about 4 years. So that is an um, it is kind of like all of those experiences. I'm trying to put them into this nice envelope and present them to the world. You
Hmm.
know,
Hmm.
that's a broad bandwidth of experiences if you think about it. Just growing up and living in Sierra Leone and what that part of my life is significant, and
Hmm.
I'm rooted in that. I
Hmm.
move in the world as an African woman, specifically a Sierra Leonean woman. But also, I've been shaped by the experiences of being in the US for over 30 years. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
there is that. I also have to be present here in the US with whatever is going on here. And so be able to soak up those experiences and give, if I have any gifts to give to America, I'll give them because there's an allegiance here because this is where I've lived. This is home, right?
Hmm.
And when I lived in China, those experiences were just very different. And they're also a part of my life. So that's what the book is about. The book chronicles Ray's life from living in Sierra Leone, and there's very difficult topics that I talk about or that I try to address in the book. So loss and death. I lost my dad when I was 10. That was very, very difficult
Hmm.
because I still have fresh, vivid, fond memories of him, you
Yeah.
know. In the book, I talk about the relationship with my mother and the shifts that happened, like after my father died. I talk about FGM, which is female genital mutilation.
Mm.
I'm a child that was cut when I was 13. We call it cutting because that's actually what it is. And, you know, people try to politicize it and talk about the tradition of it or the fact that wanting to eradicate it kind of encroaches into African traditions and cultures. But, you know, we should call the thing what it is. It's a brutal act that happens and still happens to many women. And it leaves a lasting impact on you as a person as you move through life, even up to adulthood. It's a painful subject to talk about.
Yeah.
In the book, I talk about dealing with adults who cross lines with children, particularly an uncle who was a friend of the family, who and me coming back to my mother and saying this happened and not being believed, or even if let me say this, maybe it's that she believed me, but maybe the power structure and what was happening at the time made it difficult for her to deal with.
Mm.
And so there are those pains. I talk about being a mother, being a wife, which sometimes is difficult
Hmm.
in the African space, being a mother who I've had to be with my kids their whole life and had to raise them. I don't want to take from anyone or anything and say I had to raise them single-handedly, because that is not the truth. But in terms of the everyday and being with my kids and the growing pains
Right.
and being there for to catch them when they fall, to applaud them when they do those things, I've had to do single-handedly. And those emotional pieces, what that takes from you and what that teaches you.
Yeah.
It is a lesson, learning from these young folks. So it's all of that. And into adulthood, into what I would call the pivot in my life, that even though that's been difficult, I see it as a blessing, because it gave me back the gift of understanding the light in my life, and understanding that I have something in me that I can give to the world. I lost that for a number of years. So gaining that back has been good.
Well, that's wonderful. I mean, the topics that you hit upon in your memoir are all very heavy. The way that you are describing it, how do you do it without kind of losing yourself? I mean, does it feel like you're revisiting these moments, and are you able to take some time away and do something, happy?
Yes, yes, I do that way. I do happy things. I write the fun stuff and the stuff about love and light and happy. I write that stuff and I post it sometimes on Medium.
Yeah.
My Facebook page is a happy place, is a positive place. That's a place where, I think of something real quick, and, I put it on my phone and I'm just like, let me just post this. Let me post some flowers today because I'm feeling like the roses, or you know what I mean? So there is that. There's the fun stuff. And then there's the great stuff that I've discovered that I'm doing now, which you said we'll table for later, which is working with composers or looking at themes of music and writing. So yes, I do fun stuff.
And we will come back to that. Don't worry. The universe calls me daughter. So where does it stand right now? Are you done with it? Are you looking for a publisher? What's the status?
So the status is it's not completely done.
Okay.
Now, in my program, in this Masters of Liberal Arts, I will be pursuing a capstone route and working with a professor. So it will be done by May of 26.
Oh, wow.
Like, it will be a complete manuscript is my hope.
Okay. So you must be pretty far along then. I
am far along.
Good. Okay.
Yes. Because I've been writing for a while, even before I got into the program. I already had this concept and writing, and it's kind of hard to find publishers in Portland, and find publishers when, like I said, up until 22, my brain space was just operating as a mother at home with my children who writes, I have files of things on my computer, and that was it. So
The Universe Calls Me Daughter. Where'd you get that title? It's very beautiful.
So I consider myself, excuse me, a child of the universe. Now, I spent the first 10 years of my life with both parents. And then I left Sierra Leone just as I was turning about 16. So now I'm living with one parent for those next 6 years, right? When I left and came to the States, I didn't go back for 18 years. So I did not see my mother. It was not when the internet wasn't there for me to be able to see her on video camera like I'm seeing you. So it was just phone calls, like every other Sunday. We would talk on the phone. She would go to the place. She had to go into the city and pay money to make the call. Or I would make a call, and she would, you know what I mean, to the home phone, the landline. It's kind of choppy, whatever. And, so that was the conversation until later when I got a call, and just as an adult, I would work and send home money for my mom for her upkeep, that kind of thing. I have a brother and sister, and I got a call in 2007 that said that it was from the neurologist. Oh my God, the OBGYN who delivered me. And he said to me, I need you to come home. Your mother's dying of cancer.
Okay.
And she had kept it. It was cervical cancer, and she had just kept it from everybody and till it was too late. So she
Yeah.
was dying. So I went home. Mother was sick, could not even talk at the time, but she recognized that I was there, and she lived for 5 days and died. So I'm going to stop there. What I sat down one day and figured is that really, truly, the universe has raised me. I didn't spend too. I did not have the blessing of spending too much time with parents because when I moved to the States, I was living with an uncle and aunt, and then I moved out on my own, and I've been a child of the universe. So that's where that title comes
Oh
from.
man, I identify with that
Hmm.
so much.
Hmm.
I'm not going to talk about it on this podcast, but we can, when we're done, we can talk about
We were
it.
connected. Yeah.
I definitely, yeah,
Yeah.
we're here on that.
Hmm.
Um, well, it's a beautiful title, and I hope that you get everything that you want out of it. And any publishers who might be listening,
I'm here.
let us know how to get in touch.
Okay.
All right, so you have, let's transition a little bit here. So you are working in the music world now. How did you get into that?
Yeah. How did I get into the music world? I have this beautiful friend who had maybe read clips here and there of my writing named Damien Jeter, who said to me, Mimi, your writing is beautiful. And what I think you should do is figure out a way to get into the world of librettos, be a librettist. And I'm like, what is that? I had heard the word, but I'm just like, what is that?
Uh,
And then you gave me an opportunity to peek into this world of classical music and the opera and the mind of composers, which I am so fascinated by. I have no understanding of music. You must know this. Like I don't read music, don't understand it at all.
I don't agree with you, but go ahead.
You don't think I have an you see okay.
Absolutely. These poems
Okay.
that you write, they're very musical.
So then
I've also heard you sing, so
you have heard me sing.
yeah.
Okay. You don't think it's bad my singing? No?
No,
No. Okay. All right. So then I wrote the foreword for your African American Requiem, which was such a privilege. I cannot tell you how important that was for me.
mm.
So I wrote that and it was received well.
It was
And
important for all of us. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that was an important work. Like
I'm talking about
seminal
what you
work,
wrote.
I think, because there had been nothing like it before.
Well, I'm talking about what you wrote.
What I wrote.
Yeah. I actually may have you back on because I'm probably going to do an episode on the Requiem because Chicago Phil is performing it this fall.
Okay.
So I may have you,
Sure.
or I may just have you read it when we hang up here.
Okay. So I wrote that forward, and it just opened up something for me. And you had been reading, I think, pieces of poetry, things I'd written on Facebook, and I said to myself, well, hey, I really can write poetry, and so I started doing it. And then but I kept that. With my writing, what I've always done is I've just kept things to myself, and I met and was introduced to an amazing editor who's been in the publishing world forever. Her name is Ella Wakatama. And this woman, just distinguished, respected, and she and I had a phone conversation. And I sent her some pieces of work, and she is the one that told me, I need you to get into a writing program. And I need you to understand that your writing does nothing for you if it's on your computer, if it's
Hmm.
in a book somewhere. It does nothing for you.
Yep.
You have to be able to let go. That's what I gathered from the conversation she and I had. You
Yeah.
have to be able to let go and let the world hear you.
Hmm.
So I started to, and this has been honestly like a perfect way to have the world hear me because I've worked with, and ever since Cantata for a Whole Fool Tomorrow, I've worked with composers who I worked with Kenji Bunch. I never even met him until the day of the performance. Do you see what I'm saying? Seriously, like I'd
Yeah.
never met him. We'd never seen each other. We just emailed.
Yeah.
And I've never met Matthew Reggio. Never met him.
Yeah.
I've never met Eugene Rogers. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that was just, it blew my mind, Damien, that it was possible to connect with people, reconcile on a theme, reconcile for a trajectory on a work, and be able to produce something so beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, as a composer, I can say that I'm always looking for text, and it's really nice when you have somebody who is such a good colleague as yourself, who is able to, take not, criticism isn't the right word, but is malleable, I guess I'll say, and it
Absolutely.
has no emotions in terms of like keeping the piece too close to their heart where it absolutely cannot change, and
Mhm.
also at the end of the day it's just beautiful work. So would you do us the honor of reading maybe Breathe, which
Really?
I use in Cantata for a More Hopeful Tomorrow?
Tomorrow. Yes, 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 yes. That was another amazing example of that was during COVID when we could not even be in the same room.
Right.
It had to be phone call. It had to be, right?
Yeah, but let's just say at that time I did know Mimi because I knew Mimi when I was teaching at Catlin Gable, and I knew her children. Her son Juma was in my advisory group, and we just all became very close. But I remember on my very first day at Catlin, you marched right on up to me. You know how we do.
You know how we do.
Introduce yourself, and the rest is
Yeah.
history.
Yes. Yes. And here we are,
And here we are.
friends and talking about work,
Yeah.
you know, which is amazing stuff. So breathe. Breathe really was, I think we connected with that at a time of so many unknowns. We didn't know how this thing was going to go, what's happening. We just knew
Mm-hmm.
people were dying
Yep.
in hospitals. Information was coming through, and I think everybody was just scared.
Yeah.
Yeah,
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 everybody was scared, and I will say, with regards to the piece, it's the centerpiece of the whole thing. I consider it the heart of the entire piece, and it really has this sort of kind of double meaning. I feel like because of all the stuff that was happening in 2020, and then include the COVID and the Black Lives Matter movement and everything that was around that, and police violence and stuff
yeah,
like that. So
yeah.
it was the perfect. It was perfect.
Perfect. Thank you. So here goes from a cantata for a hopeful tomorrow. This is Breathe. With effortless, simple repetitions, no complex expectations shrouded by worry, no disappointments imagined. We did just breathe. Then, interruptions, devastations, leaving the world feeling sorry. Questions and uncertainty emerge. Now we don't know how to breathe. Standing in confidence of our decisions, shaken with little hope to carry, movement halted, emotion stirred, we must continue to breathe. Go back to those parts of you that house ambition, where you'll find your glory, purpose, drive, and the tenacity to endure. Learn again to just breathe. Thank you. Thank you.
It's beautiful. All right, walk me through your process. How did you start? How did how did we come up with breathe? Did I give that to you, or I can't remember how we did that.
No, you asked for I think we talked on Zoom and we talked about what's actually happening with COVID. Like what is the thing itself? We just knew it was a respiratory situation that
Uh
was
huh.
just taking lives. And for me, I think when we were talking about that, I have a lot of and I always say more power to them. I have a lot of friends who are in the healthcare profession, who are nurses and who have MSNs, who have PhDs in nursing, who are nurse practitioners, who are respiratory therapists, and all that kind of. So I knew what their process was when we would come together, on Zoom or something and talk about what was happening, just as a relief for them. So my mind was there in
Mm-hmm.
terms of what, and then I knew we were losing people
Yep.
in the Sierra Leonean community. We were losing people. And it was just, the wife is telling me that the husband has passed and he couldn't breathe. And so that's where we are,
Mm.
right? That's where I was coming from. And that's what inspired the title Just Breathe.
Yep.
I also, just as a philosophy, I'm a person who, in terms of chaos and catastrophe, I tend not to break.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's when I have the most resolve
Mm-hmm.
because it's autopilot mode for me,
Yeah.
right? Like I'm just like, this thing is not going to break me. And so
Yep. Survival mode.
survival mode.
Yep.
So just what was in my head is, through this thing that's taking lives and attacking the lungs and people, breathe. What I'm trying to do is stay breathing.
Yep.
As long as I'm breathing, we will get through this. And so I think that was the drive for me.
I think that probably comes from being a daughter of the universe.
Yes.
Yeah. Teaching
Yeah.
you these things.
Teaches you these things.
Yeah, it's perfect. It fits perfectly within the cantata because there's a trajectory in the cantata that moves from despair to hope. And it's
Mhm.
sort of the process that we all go through when we go through things.
Mhm.
And how many times have we been told, just take the moment to just breathe?
Take a moment.
And as I said, this is sort of the centerpiece of it because it really is the moment in the cantata where everything changes. The first couple movements are very not hopeful.
Mhm.
And then we get to breathe where it's like, okay, let me sit down. Let me think about this. Let me calm down. And then everything after that is starting to move towards the hope. So it's a beautiful poem. Thank you so much for writing it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I really appreciated because remember we did this on Zoom and there's
Hmm.
this video and that video reference, and by no influence of mine at all, because I just presented the work. But the video, I was just looking at the hospital scenes.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember this?
Yep.
Yes. And I was
Yeah.
like, wow, this is just paying homage to the many people who risk their lives to save lives of other people, or just make people comfortable, whether it was they were dying from whatever it was. But we had healthcare workers that were in that space. And so when I saw the video with the performance we had, I was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah. It was as I said, it was perfect in every way.
Mhm.
Let me ask you this: how do you bridge the political side of art making? Can you separate the two? I know a lot, we've just talked a lot about this particular piece, which took place during COVID and George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and all that sort of chunk. But like when you were talking about your memoir, there are a lot of political themes that are in that. Can you
Yeah.
talk a little bit about how you sort of toe that line?
So I like to think that the art, which is what I do, which, right, it is the vessel. How do I use it? Do I just use it to tell the world about the beautiful flowers and the no?
You
I use
can.
it. Huh?
You can.
You can, and I do that. I do that. But the world also has to know through the art, and I think we have a lot of influence as artists
Hmm.
to be able to say, this piece is about, this is how I protest, this is how I make a statement, This is how I try to reshape and redefine minds if I can.
Hmm.
So for me, I'm not fearful of putting my protest into my art. I'm not fearful of telling my truth in my art. It is art. It's what is going on with the culture, what's going on with society at the moment,
Yep.
what's going on in my head. If it's important to me, I'm putting it on paper.
Yeah, and I think that's why so many folks who shall remain nameless are afraid of artists right now, and is trying to control a lot of
Yeah.
what we do because quite frankly, artists are dangerous, and you should be
Yes.
scared.
Yes. And when you want to oppress and suppress, that's where you start. Start with the
Hmm.
art,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah. Can you read something else for us? How about shout out? Piece you wrote
Shout
for
out.
Kenji.
Shout out was the Kenji Bunch piece.
Yeah.
Yes. So this one I should give, and I mentioned this earlier, right? Shout out. So Kenji Bunch and I only set eyes on each other the day of the performance. So Resonance Ensemble, this was one of the ones that just blew my mind about this work and this genre and this space. So Resonance Ensemble here in Portland, which I'm a part of and hold dear to my heart, and you introduced me. They commissioned this piece through Kenji Bunch, and Kenji and I talked by email, not even on the phone. It was just email. We emailed back and forth, and he gave me an idea of, or gave me the idea of what he was trying to accomplish. It was for the Portland protests concert
Hmm.
with Resonance, and so I knew I had an idea because I was sitting here at home watching the protests. Right, I knew what the protest meant for my city. I knew that a lot of people had their opinions about it, but I also knew that it was a culture trying to make a statement, So that's where that came from. So it was a series of just emails back and forth, and he's like, "What I'm looking for is just something that says a reason why we're protesting and what happens as a person when
Mm.
you with protest." So that's what that came from. And
Yeah.
then I went to the performance. I was invited to read, and that's the first time I met Kenji Bunch. And that was actually, that performance was so important because that was the first time that besides Breathe that I actually live saw a
Mm.
choir singing my words.
Yeah. How'd that feel?
Oh, that I cried.
Yeah.
I was touched. I was really moved. And I'm sitting there and I open up the concert brochure and I'm looking at the lines of music as they're written. And I'm going back to those times when I was in Catholic school in Sierra Leone. You know how you open the
Mm.
hymnal
Yeah.
to sing the hymns?
Yeah.
And it's not just that you read the first line and then you go to the next stanza.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was written like, it just brought that back for me.
See, you're musical.
I guess I am.
Yeah,
I
you
guess
are.
I am. Yeah.
All right, let's
Yeah.
hear it.
So shout out, for Kenji Bunch and for Resonance Ensemble. This is shout out. I come not as one, but as we. When the heavens stood still and fear ushered chaos, we sought to move earth and time. Blood of our brethren trailed sidewalks. Tears of our mothers fell like rain. We undressed lies, brandished our pain, stood watch, and shouted, "Never again." We showed up in chaplets of color divine, unified by creed and rooted in love, piping praises yet demanding freedom. Sing out, shout out in wondrous harmony. Our spirits unchanged, our lips hoping for victory, fueled by hope and unfurling dreams, comfort and love and sweet memories of raising every voice, following every journey, seeing every human revel in glory. Sing out, shout out in wondrous harmony. Thank you, Damien. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Mimi.
Yeah.
So,
Reading this again is it just is so important. I cannot understate the importance of art and the culture and the impact that we can make.
oh, absolutely. And it's really it's really great to hear the person who wrote the words read it.
Mm.
And when I can, I like for that to happen because I mean the way that you were sort of accenting certain words and things like that, it's very musical.
This
I'm
is
not
why
gonna
you
let this
said
go. I'm
earlier.
not gonna let this go. Okay.
Yeah, no, you're not right. This is why you said earlier. There's that music muscle, the music bone. It's in there.
Yeah. So, do you have any future plans? Doing any more music, or like what's up with Mimi? Say, Aminata. What's going on?
I do, I do. I mean, just on you introduce, of course, from Breathe and Cantata, you introduced me to Eugene Rogers, who sought me out and has connected me with Matthew Rezio, and so there's that project that I am working on. That actually is scheduled for next fall sometime. So there is that. I am excited by things I've done working with Dara Grant, working with Stacey Phillips, and all these composers that have
Hmm.
opened now my eyes to what beauty can be done in this space. And so I'm looking forward to again working with other composers. If they're hearing me out there,
Yeah.
please reach out and I can, we can work together on themes that you have, develop something great. But I also want to be able to publish this book.
Yep.
Like I said, I'll be done with this program next May, and I want to be able to actually set up a platform for myself to do writing full time.
Mm.
I
You're on your way.
I'm on my way.
Yeah.
I'm on my way. I am on my way, and I'm hoping that it becomes something beautiful. There are the struggles that are there, right? Like I'm a person living with MS, and so there's the uncertainty of that.
Yeah.
There is that,
Yeah.
and those struggles come up physically, right? That's how MS presents, and that's what it does. But I go back to where we were talking about breathe and just my fundamental drive to move through anything, even if it's bad, with I just have to be positive. I just, you know what I mean? Like I have to, the future is bright. I can't say the future is grim or dull or I can't subject myself to that. So what I keep saying is it's positive. The possibilities are endless. We will have MS, but we will fight through that and we will write for as long as we can.
Is there a part of your memoir you want to read?
Is there a part of my memoir that I want to read? There is what can I read you that's a part of my memoir? Oh,
I'm just saying if we want to get this out there. So I think a
okay.
clip or an
There
example.
is what is it now that I can read you, which is a letter. The letter, I should read you the letter.
Okay.
Yeah, Damien, you put me on the spot. You put me on the spot, but I should, as I'm pulling it up. So this is just to give a little background. This is a letter to my sisters, and um, my life has been supported by sisters from all different backgrounds, but I think I wrote this one with Black women in mind.
Mm.
Yeah. So,
And this is
we
from this
nurture,
is
we
from,
protect. Sorry?
oh no, go ahead.
Yeah. We nurture, we protect, we provide for others, right? We neglect and forsake ourselves. We sacrifice, we wait for the world to validate us. We look for the validation. That's how we connect. Sometimes the validation comes, sometimes it doesn't come at all, right?
Yeah. And at the
And I
same
wrote,
time, while you're waiting for all of that, you save the world.
you save the world. Yes. Exactly. You know what I mean? So it's somewhat of an iteration of thoughts I had chronicled in more detail in the memoir itself. But this is just a snapshot of what maybe I was thinking on that particular day, and the message in it remains unchanged, even though I wrote this as a letter as opposed to what's actually in the memoir.
Sure.
Right? But it goes, "Dear sister, look in the mirror, see your best self. When you seek favor from the world, I pray, believe in yourself at the peril of detractors, let not opinions define you. May confidence ignite your every passion, and may self-love control your destiny. Determination shall be your creed, and may kind graces circle you. May good fortune be your reward. Open your eyes to the beauty of sisterhood. Be a shoulder to another. Guard your heart. Protect her good name. Recognize her good, earnest work. If you are a mother, bless your children. If you aspire to be one, bless your womb. Bless your heart to know love, to share it, to embrace it. When burdens persist, when the load feels heavy, may you find the glory to withstand, the tenacity to endure, the will to survive. You are what is beautiful on this earth. I pray you know your worth. Let your heart be filled with joy, a path to love, a guiding light. Your name will know wondrous acclaim, for none but exceptional report. You are strong, you are worthy, you are woman. With love, A.
That's so good. You're so good.
Yeah. So it's just a letter.
Here's my snaps.
Letter to sisters.
Oh man, Mimi. Thank you so much for being here. How do we get in touch with you?
So I am at, the easiest way is I have stuff that I put out on Medium, medium.com at say dash Mimi.
Are you on the socials?
I'm on the socials. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. And look for me, especially on Instagram, at Mimi's Right Life. All one word, lowercase. Mimi's Right Life. I'm on Instagram.
Great.
You'll find me there. Actually, Instagram is the best way to communicate with me, at Mimi's Right Life, because it's easy to remember. MIMIS, right, WRITE, life, LIFE. All one word.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Thanks for being here, Mimi.
Thank you for having me. This has been a special session. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Absolutely.
As my friend, as a colleague, I appreciate you. Thank you, Damien.
Oh, well, you're one of my favorite people, so.
Yeah.
We'll talk soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
Sing out, shout out in wondrous harmony. Sing out, shout out in wondrous harmony. Sing out, shout out in wondrous harmony.
I want to thank Mimi again for being on the show. And if you're somebody who's looking for a writer for whatever reason, definitely hit her up. She left her information at the end of this podcast. And as you heard from her interview, she's a very kind and dope individual. And not to mention, super talented and very hardworking. In this podcast, you heard the movement Breathe from my cantata for a more hopeful tomorrow, performed by Emmanuel Music in Boston. And at the end of this episode, you heard the Resonance Ensemble out in Portland, Oregon, perform Shout Out by Kenji Bunch. Okay, remember the gold statues that made an appearance in front of the U.S. Capitol? Well, A couple more have popped up and have since been taken down, but the first, a 12-foot gold Donald Trump holding a Bitcoin in adoration, the installation happening just before the Federal Reserve was set to drop the interest rates. The installation was designed to ignite conversation about the future of government-issued currency and is a symbol of the intersection between modern politics and financial innovation. This is a quote from the representative of the collective of crypto investors who funded the installation, Ishem Zakhdudi. He goes on to say that the statue is a thank you to Trump for bringing Bitcoin into public acceptance. Public reactions to the statue spanned a range of emotions from admiration to jest. The second statue depicts Trump frolicking with Jeffrey Epstein. The plaque between the two figures says, "We celebrate the long-lasting bond between President Donald J. Trump and his closest friend, Jeffrey Epstein." Also printed at the feet of both men are phrases allegedly penned by Trump to Epstein on his 50th birthday. Shockingly, the president didn't take this legally installed work of art too kindly. Thanks again for listening to Artillery, the podcast that meets at the intersection of art and politics. I'll see you next time.